The average person is said to spend 15 minutes in the bathroom. Why not take advantage of that time and learn something new? Presenting the 15-minute podcast on weird facts, crazy details, and funny particulars that you'll be able to enjoy while you're taking a on your free time. Welcome to The Shit with Sam Butler. Welcome to another episode of The Shit Podcast. I have a very special guest, a good friend of mine. You've seen him here before, Luis Garcia. We call him Luisardo.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
Luisardo. Good. Very good. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for being here. I have a topic it's pretty interesting. There's not a lot of information on it, but I thought this was an amazing story. Definitely you can enjoy this story on your morning commute, or if you're sitting at the doctor's office, or if you're taking care of business. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't discriminate. We want to thank you for inviting us to your toilets.
Hope everything is going well right now.
Thank you for inviting us to hang out with you while you're in your most embarrassing moments. But with that being said, we're going to talk about a character. Well, it was a person. This person has passed away.
Okay.
This guy's name was Terry Fox.
Terry Fox.
Terry Fox was a Canadian that was diagnosed with cancer.
Okay.
And he had a particular type of cancer that started in his leg, and they had to amputate his leg.
Okay, that's pretty bad.
Okay, it's pretty bad. He was 18 years old.
Damn.
So he decides that you need to raise a little bit more money in Canada for cancer research.
Okay.
So he decides that the way he's going to help raise money for cancer research in Canada is that he's going to run from coast to coast in Canada.
Without a leg?
Without a leg, with a prosthetic.
Okay.
So he has a prosthetic, and he decides he's going to run, and he ends up running.
From what? From Vancouver to...
He actually started on the other coast in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
And it's weird. If you look at the map, there's actually maps of what he ran. Mm-hmm. And this guy didn't cut any corners. I mean, he could have cut straight across and it would have counted.
Yeah.
But no, he ran down Nova Scotia, back up Nova Scotia, which is an island.
Okay.
And then back around, and then he catches a ferry to Sydney, Canada, right? And then he starts there, and he runs down, and you can just see where he starts running up and down, and he's catching the whole coast.
Damn.
Right? He ran 5,300.
I'm sorry, how much?
5,373 kilometers.
Damn. It's like he wanted to run like every single mile from Canada.
It's 3,338.627 miles.
Damn.
So almost 3,339 miles. Right? And I mean, he starts the race. It says that he would start running at 4:30 in the morning.
Every day. And he would finish running at like 7 in the evening. Non-stop.
Damn. And he ran every day 26 miles a day. 26 miles a day. He ran a marathon every day.
Damn.
Now, I don't know if you know anything about running marathons, but I have a friend that's a marathon runner, and she trains to run marathons.
Mm-hmm.
And literally the running starts. She was explaining to me that they'll run 2 kilometers, then 5, and then they'll build up to 6, and then they'll build up to 18 or 12, and then they'll do like 12, and then they'll do 18, and this is like so often. So by the time you get to where you can run 26 miles, you will have ran hundreds of miles in training to reach 26 miles and not get tired and not give up.
Yeah.
This guy was running 26 miles a day for like 143 days.
Damn.
Right.
But I think that he trained a lot before doing that.
I think he just started running. I think this is like
a Canadian Forrest Gump.
This is a Canadian Forrest Gump. He just started running.
Okay.
Right. And his goal, I mean, the thing about it, this was an incredible story because he was 18 years old when he loses his leg. And I think he starts running when he's 20.
Okay.
Right. And it took him 143. He had a driver that would go with him. And I guess they would follow him in a pickup or in a van, instead in a van. And sometimes they would sleep in the van at night because they didn't have money for a hotel room. The guy, if you look at the pictures, the guy's just wearing, it's literally, I think this is literally where they got the Forrest Gump story from.
Okay.
Right. I mean, I have a hard time running around the block. I can't imagine running from 4:30 in the morning till 7 in the evening. I mean, 4:30 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon is 12 hours. So add another 3 hours to that, and that's 15 hours a day.
But I'm start thinking that the really bad job over there was from the guy who was with him. Like, he was with him all the time, and he was just in the car standing behind him.
I think that would be my job.
Go on, you can do it while eating some chips, right?
Now, his goal, he was an incredible kid. His goal was to raise, he wanted everyone in Canada to donate $1.
Okay.
Figured $1 will get us down the road, for cancer research. And he was able to raise $1.7 million for cancer research during that run. So he raised almost $2 million by getting $1 donations. We're talking about 1980. I don't know when Nike running shoes came out, but I think that's pretty close to the running technology was not the same technology that we have today.
Yeah.
I think maybe the waffle was out, the Nike waffle shoe was out at that time. And he ran on a prosthetic. I had a friend who was a stand-up comedian. He's passed away now. He passed away from COVID, but he had diabetes. And when I met him, they had just recently amputated one of his legs.
Okay.
And he had a prosthetic. It's Joe El Cholo, for you guys that might know him. Shout out to Joe. But Joe El Cholo, when I first met him, he was missing one leg. And he looked like a big cholo, but he had like one prosthetic leg. Well, his diabetes got worse, and he ended up with 2 prosthetics.
Okay.
Right. So when I first met him, he was missing one leg, and then a couple of years later, he's missing a second leg, and then I think a little bit after that, they had to cut that same leg a little bit higher.
Okay.
Now, I don't know about 1980s what it would cost to get prosthetics, but I think a good prosthetic right now is in the $20,000 range.
I think so, yeah.
So think about running with a prosthetic. It's not, one thing for your feet to hurt or for you to have blisters. Could you imagine where your leg is inside the prosthetic and all of the movement that you're doing on your leg? I can imagine that was a very agonizing run.
Yeah.
But this guy said, I'm going to do it. There's actually a statue of him in Canada with the prosthetic leg.
Well, he's still alive?
No, he actually, that's the sad part, is that he didn't make it to the other coast. He stopped in Ontario. But if you look at the map, he was about 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through Canada. And Canada is huge. Canada is, I know that it borders the United States, but if you look at Nova Scotia is an island that's off in the Atlantic Ocean. And that's a pretty big piece of land right there. So he ran that, and I would say that's the equivalent of running like New Mexico or something, the whole state.
Yeah, probably.
And then he caught a ferry, and then he ran on the mainland. And if you look at the route, he ran all of the northern part of the United States on the Canada side, and made it through British Columbia, Montreal, which is like Buffalo, New York, all that area, the Great Lakes. He ran around the Great Lakes. Now, I was out in Chicago earlier this year, and it was impressive because it looks like you're literally looking into the ocean. That's how big. That's how big these lakes are. They have boats that get lost in this. They actually have rescue teams that go out and rescue vessels in the Great Lakes. And he ran around the edge of all the Great Lakes, all the way back to Ontario. And when it said that a lot of the times while he was running, there was crowds gathered around
Okay.
cheering him on. But then there was times when he was completely alone running.
And did he run on during the winter or
I don't think he ran during the winter.
Yeah, that could be.
That he would need snowshoes for that. I think he was like, yeah, next time I'll do it in the winter. Yeah. And I don't think he ran in the winter, but he is responsible for a lot of the money raised for cancer research. There's actually a foundation, the Terry Fox Foundation, and they say that to 2020, his foundation had raised over $845 million
Wow.
in cancer research in Canada. Right.
That's amazing.
So it's an amazing person. It's someone that, I know sometimes, and I'm going to get off on a tangent here, but sometimes we feel bad about ourselves. We feel bad about where we are in life. We think we should be further along. We think that things aren't going our way. And then you read a story like this of a guy who literally is 18 years old. They tell him he's going to lose his leg. I mean, how many of us would be like totally blown away by that by itself?
Yeah, for some of them,
that you're going to lose your leg and that you don't have very long to live. So the cancer that came back in his lungs.
Ooh.
Right. So when you start looking at cancer's in the lymph nodes, the lymphatic system, and then it goes and spreads throughout your body. And so it started in his leg, and he ended up having lung cancer, and he passes away at the age of 22. He died June 28th, 1981, at the age of 22.
Okay.
But that was just, in the article I read said that was just that was his life, but his legacy is still here. And so every year there's a Terry Fox run that's held across Canada and around the world. So there's people that actually go to this. So I mean, a lot of us that aren't runners or not familiar with the running world would say, "Well, running's not for me." Or you see the Susan G. Komen 5K run walks, or you see those kind of things, and you say, "I don't know what that really does." But it's obvious that even if we don't participate in these different types of events, it's very important that we donate something to these events. I mean, $850 million. Canadian dollars have been generated. It said that let's see a little bit more. He says he wasn't doing the run to become famous. He wanted to create a change and fund a cure for all cancers. He ran 26 miles a day through Newfoundland, Labrador, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec, Ontario, and it says he did run through snow, rain, wind, heat, humidity. He stopped in more than 400 towns, schools, and cities to talk about why he was running.
Wow.
He would start at 4:30 in the morning and often didn't finish the last mile until 7 p.m. at night. And Doug was his best friend and his driver, and they would sleep in the van because they couldn't afford a place to stay. And so we talked about this. Some days hundreds of people were there, and they would cheer him on. Other days he was alone on the road, and no money was raised. So a lot of the money, I guess Doug, his friend, probably had like a hat, and he was like collecting money off of the crowds.
Yeah.
And that's how they were able to raise, though. I mean, it was really old school. There was no Venmo. There was no GoFundMe. There was none of that,
Yeah. No social media.
No social media.
He's going to your town.
So he'd come. So when he entered Ontario on June 28th, so June is the summer, the whole country was cheering him on and donating to cancer research. So they saw that Terry's try was unlimited. Even though he did not complete the entire country, he gave it his best try. And that's worth it. So I think all of us are affected by people at one point in our lives that have had cancer or have succumbed to cancer or are currently fighting cancer.
Yeah.
And this is October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So get them checked out. Take care of yourselves. We really want you guys to be safe. I know that I have family members that have been affected by both breast cancer and also I lost my sister to cancer some years back. And so we're all affected by it. So if you can donate to cancer research, do your research, find out who you should donate to, and donate. I mean, we're all affected by this disease. So, this episode's dedicated to Terry Fox. You're an inspiration to all of us, even if we're not currently going through anything with cancer, but to be able to see that you had that drive and determination motivates us to do better for ourselves.
Yeah. I didn't knew about him, but now ultra respect.
Respect,
him.
yeah. And totally. Canadians too. I mean, yeah, that's a lot of moxie right there. But thank you guys for joining us on this episode of the Shit Podcast. I want to thank you for coming on the podcast again. I appreciate you being here. How can people find you on your social media? I know there'll be like a little banner, but
yeah. Well, first, it was a pleasure to be here, and people can follow me on Instagram and Facebook as Luisardo Garcia.
Yeah, and that's right. Luisardo.
Luis
Ardo Garcia.
Garcia, yeah.
And you also have a podcast. It's called ¿Qué fue de ellos in Spanish. And that podcast is like Where Are They Now? And it talks about a lot of different 90s and 80s and 90s personalities.
Yeah.
So I've had the pleasure of being on your podcast several times. So I think it's an awesome podcast. If you guys have a chance to look them up, go for it. With that being said, you can find me on all my social media as Tu Amigo Sam. That's TU Amigo Sam. And that's social media. And you can find me on YouTube as well. That's my channel. That's where this airs. If you're watching this on YouTube, you already know. Please like, subscribe, leave your comments. If you have any further information, we're going to be like Unsolved Mysteries. If you know, if you have anything further on this case, please let us know. But you can leave your comments. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for tuning in. And that's it for this episode. Thank you for being here.
That's it. Thank you so much.
We'll catch you guys on the next one.